After that introduction, Marvin made me nervous. Look, let me thank you, Marvin, for a very gracious introduction. And when I asked him to come and lead the recovery effort, I offered him the most that the city had to pay, $1, and he graciously agreed. Please thank him for accepting the role and doing an outstanding job. This is the largest fundraiser I've ever had. Oh, I'm sorry. Wrong, this is the road group. I'm sorry. Look, this is my third State of the City speech. We did decide to change the format a little bit. I didn't think you wanted to listen to me for 25 to 30 minutes, and so I'm looking forward to sitting down with Scott. Let me start off by saying the state of our city is strong, and every day we are becoming more resilient, and this city is very much open for business. Harvey was a wake-up call. Yeah, you can clap on that. We are open for business. Harvey was a wake-up call to all of us who set a course for the city's future. As the world looked on us with empathy, we showed the special way that Houstonians are always ready to give to each other, with physical energy, compassion, prayer, money, and volunteerism. But Harvey did not defeat us. We endure because we are stronger when we work together. And during the Harvey flood, dedicated city workers fought high waters to get to work. 2 died in the process. Police Sergeant Steve Perez and Joseph Dowell of Public Works. In fact, there are employees here today from Solid Waste and Public Works, and I want to thank them personally for their commitment to this city, along with all of our municipal employees. Mr. Dowell was a hard worker, making the best of a second chance in life. You see, he had been in and out of jail for about 20 years, went through our reentry program, and was hired in May just before the hurricane. And instead of staying at home, he was determined to be at his post on the night that Hurricane Harvey hit. We ended up finding him a day or two later, having drowned in the waters. Sergeant Perez worked every day to protect our lives. He, too, circled our city for 2.5 hours, but couldn't get to his post. But instead of going home, he decided to go to another location, and we found him having drowned in those waters. They represent the best of our city. And today, Mr. Dowell's father, Joseph Sr., and his sister Tammy are here with us today. Let's thank them for the service of their son and their brother. Those two represent the spirit of our city. They go over and above. And that's why I can say to you without question, Houston is strong, and Houston is resilient, and Houston is open for business. Houston is bouncing back. We are not where we need to be. We continue to push for federal funding for flood mitigation projects and more affordable and available housing. And I do want to thank Congressman Ted Poe and Congressman John Culberson and the entire congressional delegation for standing up for the city of Houston. Very much appreciated. You can drive into some neighborhoods and you see they are normal, like a storm never hit. But we can't forget that many Houstonians are still displaced and in need of housing, a housing that needs to be remediated, repaired, or reconstructed. And we can't ignore the reality that Houston was hit by 3 500-year storms in 3 consecutive years. A few weeks ago, the City Council passed sweeping changes to Chapter 19, flood prevention reforms for new construction. But let me be very clear. The goal of the city is not to discourage or try to prevent development in our city. But if we are going to build, we must build forward in a way that is more responsible and mitigates the risk of flooding. That is why over the next several months, I will ask City Council to address Chapter 9 and Chapter 13. We also need improvements in our drainage, curbs, and infrastructure to help prevent future flooding. And that is why the continuation of Rebuild Houston is needed. Some things will have to change. Some of these changes may seem too aggressive, and for others, they may not be aggressive enough. But when we passed the changes to Chapter 19, it was FEMA that wrote the city a letter and issued a press statement stating Houston had become a model for the nation. That is the Houston I know. We face our challenges head on. We are stronger when we work together. 2017 was an incredible year. Together, we successfully hosted a Super Bowl. Together, we helped, with the help of voters, the Greater Houston Partnership, we achieved pension reform. We launched Complete Communities program intended to ensure no neighborhood is left behind. Together, we persevered through Hurricane Harvey. Together, we celebrated with the World Series champion, the Houston Astros. And together, we shall cheer on the Houston Rockets. In a few days, I will present the 2019 budget to City Council. It will close a $114 million gap without layoffs while maintaining a healthy fund balance. I'm asking departments again to reduce their budgets for a third consecutive year, which will total over $80 million in department reductions. Instead of filling vacancies at the city, we are eliminating positions. But even as we protect the taxpayers in those ways, the city must address what is called the Other Post-Employment Benefits, or OPEB. Retiree health care costs have created a $2 billion liability for the city over the past decade. By the time we meet again, the goal is to have a plan in place reducing that liability. At a time when finances are tight, our growing city sorely needs the revenue to increase the number of police officers and provide more resources for police and fire. As a comparison, Chicago has nearly 13,000 police officers covering 275 square miles. The city of Houston has 5,100 police officers covering 640 square miles, and almost one-third of those officers are eligible to retire today. This city has been blessed. In 2006, former Mayor Bill White asked the voters for permission to raise $90 million on top of the revenue cap. I will simply say to you that in order for us to have more police officers in the city, the assets that we need to do something similar, or we need to do something to address these concerns. The current model is not sustainable. Our city is growing. People are coming here from all over the world, and we have special events in our city every single week. My number one priority is the safety and security of our citizenry, and we need more police officers. We need greater technology as well as other assets, and cybersecurity is a must. We cannot stand still. We must do more. We have been blessed, but this model that we have in place for a growing, dynamic city must change. And I would be less than honest with you as your CEO to say to you that we cannot continue to cut and cut and cut and add 500 to 600 more police to our force. Last year in my speech, I said technology, innovation, and a vibrant startup community are key drivers of our city's present and future. In the past few weeks and months, Houston has taken huge steps towards becoming a global leader in this area. Working with the Greater Houston Partnership, we combined tech forces into Houston Exponential. We launched the Innovation Hub at the 1938 Sears Building with the help of Rice University and our other outstanding colleges and universities, collaborating to make Houston a world leader in data science and digital technologies. And in yet another collaboration that disrupts a lot of silos, the TMC3 project will bring together the best medical institutions and brightest minds in clinical care, research, and industry. We did not get Amazon, so we will create our own and prepare ourselves for the next opportunity. We will not be left out. As the world's largest medical center continues to innovate, I am also excited that my alma mater, the University of Houston, has proposed and taken definitive steps with HCA for the creation of a new medical school to open in 2020, whose mission it will be to produce physicians who practice in primary care, our first defense in preventing chronic diseases and identifying behavioral and mental health issues. I hope the legislature will give to the University of Houston the support and the help that it needs in order to move not only University of Houston forward, but the city of Houston as well. Last week, Houston was named one of America's most family-friendly cities by Homes.com for several reasons, including park acreage per capita. I want to thank Nancy and Rich Kinder for their generous, historic $70 million donation to fast-track the Memorial Park Master Plan. Astros owners Jim Crane and his wife Whitney have stepped up to donate $1 million and lead the fundraising to redo Jones Plaza as a theater district park. I want to thank them as well. And when I became mayor, I said I didn't want to govern two cities in one of haves and have-nots. Last year, I launched Complete Communities, starting in 5 neighborhoods: Acres Home, Gulfton, 2nd Ward, near North Side, and 3rd Ward. The goal is to create more complete neighborhoods with access to quality, affordable homes, jobs, well-maintained parks and green space, improved streets and sidewalks, grocery stores, retail, good schools, and transit options. Not too long ago, I met with 29 financial institutions, their CEOs and high-level executives in our city. And what I said to them and asked them is to redirect their community reinvestment dollars, much of it, to many of these communities that have been underserved and under-resourced. Many of the banks said to me, "Mayor, we are doing some of this stuff already." But the reality is, in our city, the divide in some of these communities continue to grow. The paradigm needs to shift. I am asking these financial institutions to partner with the city and let us place these dollars in a way that we receive the greatest bang for our buck. We can provide dollars to individuals. That's a plus for them. But when we change communities, when we change neighborhoods, we will touch more people's lives than just individuals in our city. We need a new direction. While the spotlight has been on our signature parks, we cannot forget about our local neighborhood parks and how much they mean to people who live in local communities. That is why today I'm hoping that someone will make a generous, sizable donation targeting our neighborhood parks in underserved communities. At my church every Sunday, they say, "We have not because you ask not." If you want to receive a blessing, you got to be a blessing to someone else. Quality schools are another component of Complete Communities. Last week, I asked HISD to stand down from submitting an improvement plan to the Texas Education Agency by yesterday's deadline. I have asked the Commission of Education to grant HISD a 1-year waiver to give it time to find the best solution for our children. Considering Hurricane Harvey's impact on our students and campuses, this is not the time to add to the stress of students, parents, teachers, and others served by HISD. I am committing myself to a leadership role to find and execute the best path forward. By working together, we can develop a viable model with the singular goal of moving all schools up from the improvement required rating. In order for this city to attract businesses from around the globe, our independent school districts must offer a high quality of education. The state's failure to address school finance reform and the failure of past superintendents and board of trustees to improve neighborhood schools have done a disservice to thousands of our children. That cannot continue to exist in our city. And therefore, I will explore a model that takes responsibility for low-performing schools, similar to what was done by the mayor in Los Angeles 10 years ago. As we look to the future is bright. If things remain on track in 2019, the bullet train should start construction. If things go as planned in 2019, the Gas Tech Conference and exhibition of 30,000 people will be coming to the city of Houston. When I came into office, we had 450 summer youth jobs. This summer, we are providing 7,500 jobs to Houston students. I want to thank the Greater Houston Partnership for working with me. And next year, the goal is to increase that number by 2,500 jobs. We have to invest in our kids if we are going to protect our future. In 2019, the Ismaili Center, about a $250 to $300 million project, the 7th Ismaili Center in the world, will be starting construction on the Buffalo Bayou. Many people ask me, how did Harvey change us? I would argue that Harvey didn't change us. It showed the world who we are. We are each other's keepers. We get in boats and rescue one another. We feed and clothe one another without a second thought. We help each other to remediate and to rebuild. We are very resilient people working to build a more resilient city, a city we call Houston, and the best for us has yet to come. Thank you so very much.